Imagine yourself walking into a high-level meeting with corporate executives. You take a moment to look around the room, trying to gauge the atmosphere. Everyone is in their power suits, making a strong impression, and you can almost feel the tension of all those powerful figures in one place. But here's the thing, you don't have to just rely on what people say to understand their true intentions. Their body language is speaking volumes. It's telling you what they really think, how they're feeling, and sometimes even what they're planning. Understanding the body language of corporate executives can be a game changer for you, because it allows you to read between the lines and gives you a distinct advantage in the business world. Now, think about your own body language for a second. If you were to walk into a room with executives, how would you carry yourself? Would you walk in confidently, shoulders back, head held high, or would you slouch and look down? Maybe you're unsure, and that's okay. The key is to project confidence, just like the executives you're trying to understand. When you walk into a room with purpose, you immediately grab attention. And in the corporate world, that's the first step in showing authority. Now, let's shift focus and talk about how to decode the body language of those corporate executives. One of the first things you'll notice is their posture. When you see an executive with a straight posture, standing tall with their shoulders back, they are likely feeling confident and in control. They own the space they're in, and you can almost feel the authority radiating from them. It's their way of saying, "I'm the one who's in charge here." It's a posture of power. And it's something you should pay attention to, because if you're in a meeting with them, it signals that they are prepared, they are assertive, and they're ready to take charge of the situation. But not all body language is about power. When an executive is slouching, or they're leaning back too much in their chair, it can signal that they're either disengaged, unsure, or possibly trying to hide their discomfort. That's not always a bad thing, because if you're able to recognize the shift in posture, you might be able to steer the conversation in a way that works for you. Maybe it's an opportunity to assert your own position or influence their decision. When you're in a room with these executives, take notice of their posture, because it tells you a lot about how they're feeling. Another critical part of their body language is their eye contact. Have you ever been in a room where a corporate executive locks eyes with you and doesn't look away? That kind of intense eye contact can be intimidating, but it's often a sign that they are focused, assertive, and completely in control of the conversation. When an executive looks you directly in the eye, it shows that they are engaged, paying attention, and fully invested in what you have to say. It's their way of saying, "I am here and I am listening." And when you're the one on the receiving end of that gaze, you can't help but feel the weight of their presence. They're communicating power without uttering a single word. But eye contact can also reveal other emotions. Have you ever noticed an executive who avoids making eye contact with you? Perhaps their gaze drifts toward the floor or the ceiling. This could indicate that they are uncomfortable, unsure of themselves, or perhaps they're hiding something. You'll want to pay attention to these small cues, because avoiding eye contact can be a signal that something is off. If an executive is being evasive, it might be a good time for you to step in and take charge of the conversation. Using the right body language to convey your own authority can help shift the power dynamics. But understanding the lack of eye contact can also help you know when they may not be completely forthcoming. Along with posture and eye contact, the way corporate executives use their hands and gestures tells you a lot about how they're feeling and thinking. When you see an executive using their hands to emphasize a point, it can signal confidence and conviction. They're not afraid to express themselves, and their hand gestures often match the words they're saying. Their gestures are fluid, and they show a clear connection between what they believe and how they express themselves. On the flip side, if an executive is keeping their hands hidden, perhaps behind their back or in their pockets, it might indicate a lack of openness or transparency. It could suggest that they are hiding something or are uncertain about the situation. If you notice this, it's important to tread carefully, because they may not be fully engaged or fully honest in the conversation. Executives who are comfortable with their gestures are often the ones who are leading the charge. They communicate a sense of trust, they open up the conversation, and they welcome interaction. If you're able to match their openness with your own, you'll find that you create a more fluid dialogue. But if they're more reserved, like keeping their arms crossed or making tight hand gestures, you might want to reconsider your approach. It's a sign that they are closed off or guarded, and understanding that can help you decide whether to push forward or take a step back. Now, let's focus on the subtle details of their body language. Have you ever noticed how some corporate executives seem to take up more space than others? Maybe they're leaning forward in their chair, maybe they're sitting with their feet planted firmly on the ground, and their hands are placed on the table with authority. This is called territoriality, and it signals that they want to control the space they're in. They are asserting their power and signaling that they own the environment. When you observe this, take note, because it's an opportunity for you to adjust your own presence. You don't have to take up more space to compete, but you should adjust your posture to convey your own sense of confidence. Taking up space in a room can communicate that you belong there, and it's a form of nonverbal communication that shows you are comfortable in the environment. And if you're dealing with an executive who dominates the space, it's a subtle reminder to hold your ground and stand tall, because it helps you maintain your presence in the conversation. Beyond posture, eye contact, gestures, and territoriality, facial expressions are just as telling. Have you ever encountered an executive who constantly maintains a neutral or serious expression? Maybe they seem reserved or hard to read. In many corporate settings, executives maintain a calm or even stern expression to project authority and professionalism. However, don't mistake this for a lack of interest or engagement. Their neutral facial expression is often a sign that they are processing, analyzing, and thinking through the situation. It's their way of staying focused, keeping their emotions in check, and ensuring they are not easily manipulated. When you encounter this, it's important to stay calm and collected, because it can signal that the executive is looking for the most efficient, well-thought-out solution, and they want to see you maintain control of your emotions and ideas. Conversely, when an executive smiles or shows warmth in their expression, it signals openness and a willingness to engage. It's a sign that they're open to discussion, collaboration, and are likely to be more receptive to new ideas. So, if you catch a smile or a slight change in their facial expression, consider it a sign that you're on the right track. Don't be afraid to engage more deeply, because you've just broken through a barrier. When you're decoding the body language of corporate executives, it's not just about reading their signals, but also about how you respond to them. By adjusting your own body language to match theirs, you can build rapport, show authority, and navigate corporate dynamics with ease. It's about recognizing the unspoken messages and using them to your advantage, because the world of corporate executives is as much about perception as it is about action. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, because you will learn a ton of information in the next video.